All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Tuesday, May 4th. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. Now we're 3-1 in our last 4 NBA tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 63% in our last 16 NBA tier package picks in that very same category. Now we currently have over 1,105 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, link for that page is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to take a look at the Suns versus the Cavaliers, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Phoenix is minus 12.5, totals 217. Now the Suns continue to roll here as they're currently on a 4-game winning streak, 21-9 straight up as the official road team. Now Phoenix is giving up just 109 points per contest when they travel, and they also rank in the top 5 in the NBA in defending the 3-ball. Despite the absence of Jay Crowder and possibly Cameron Payne, the Suns lineup is led by Devin Booker, who's scoring over 25.5 points a game, along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Chris Paul is scoring 16 points a night himself, 4.5 boards and 8 assists for the multi-time All-Star. Paul's also drilling nearly 94% of his free throws. And speaking of free throws, the Suns lead the NBA in free throw percentage on the road. They're also in the top 3 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage as well. They're taking on a Cleveland squad who continues to struggle. They're currently on a 6-game losing streak and just 2-11 straight up in their last 13. Despite catching points in many of their recent contests, the Suns have still failed to cover the point spread in 9 out of their last 10 ball games. The Cavaliers' biggest problem this year is their inability to score points. They're dead last in the NBA in scoring, and they make only 33% of their three-pointers. They've also had injury problems all year long. Now, Hartenstein, Garland, and Stevens, they're all out. Meanwhile, Dellavedova, Prince, and Nance, looks like they've been shut down for the season. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, oddly enough, Cleveland did see 2 out of their last 3 ball games get over the line, 5-3 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, the Suns saw their last 2 straight get over the line themselves, 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Phoenix Suns minus 12.5 and the over 217. Next ball game, it is going to be Hornets versus the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Charlotte's minus 7, numbers 216. But as bad as Charlotte's been here recently, the Pistons have been quite worse. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak, just 1-6 straight up in their last 7. The Pistons have had a really hard time this season getting on the scoreboard. They're currently in the bottom 5 in home offensive field goal percentage, and they average just 105 points a game at the Little Caesars Arena. Now, Detroit currently has the 2nd worst record in all of the NBA. Meanwhile, Okafor, Plumlee, Joseph, Grant, and Ellington, they're all questionable for tonight's game. Now, Detroit is taking on a Charlotte team who's actually dominated Detroit in recent meetings. And as a matter of fact, Charlotte has beaten Detroit 10 straight times, and they successfully covered the point spread in 80% of those victories. And despite significant struggles at different parts of the season, the Charlotte Hornets are currently the 8th seed in the East right now, and they also rank in the top 10 in the NBA in shooting the 3-ball. Now, when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets players here, Terry Rozier, he's the one scoring 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting guard. Rozier's also drilling 40% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, LaMelo Ball, he's scoring over 15.5 points per contest, along with 5 boards and 6 assists. Now, Charlotte has done a nice job this year of shutting things down in the second half defensively. They're in the top 10 in third-quarter points allowed, top 10 in fourth-quarter points allowed as well. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Charlotte's last 5 got over the line. 19-14 to the over on the road. Meanwhile, the Pistons saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Charlotte Hornets -7 and the over 216. Next ball game should be a good one. I'm talking about the Nets versus the Bucks, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. Milwaukee's -1.5, totals 242. And if you like the Nets in an upset win on the road here, they're +105 for some money line cash. Now Brooklyn's on a 2-game losing streak, 0-2 against the spread in those couple of losses. The Nets also continue to struggle defensively on the road. As a matter of fact, they're one of the worst road defensive teams in the game right now. The Nets are allowing 117 points a night when they travel. And they also rank in the bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball on the road. Now, James Harden, he's also still out with a hammy. Actually, a couple setbacks for Harden with his hamstring recovery here over the past few weeks. Now, Brooklyn, they're taking on a Bucks team who plays their best basketball at the Fiserv Forum. Right now, Milwaukee's 21-10 straight up on their home court, and they're currently leading the NBA in home scoring. Now, the Bucks are averaging 120 points a game on their hardwood, and they're drilling nearly 41% of their three-pointers in that same category. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's averaging over 28 points a night, 11 boards, 5 assists for the Greek Freak. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton, he's dropping 20 a game himself, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists for the starting forward. Now, Middleton's also nailing 43% of his three-pointers, certainly a deep ball threat. The Bucks are also one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league right now. They're in the top 3 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. And when it comes to the number in this one, this total is insanely high in my opinion. Now, when these two teams met a few days ago, the final point total stayed about a dozen points below the posted number. Now, the Bucks are also 5-1 at the under in their last 6 ball games. Meanwhile, the Nets saw their last 2 straight stay under the line themselves, 6-3 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Milwaukee Bucks -1 and the under 242. Next ball game, it is going to be Kings versus the Thunder, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sacramento's -4.5, totals 227. Sacramento's on a 2-game winning streak, 3-1 straight up in their last 4. Now, the Kings have had no issues scoring points on the road this year. They're in the top 10 in road scoring, top 5 in offensive field goal percentage. And despite the potential absence of Barnes and Metu here this evening, Buddy Hield's leading the active members of the Kings here tonight with over 16.5 points a game, along with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Rashawn Holmes, he's scoring 14.5 points a game himself, along with 8 rebounds. The Kings have been one of the better covering teams in the association here recently. As a matter of fact, they successfully covered the point spread in 7 out of their last 9 ball games. Now, Sacramento is taking on an OKC squad who's currently 23 games below 500, and they've also won just 9 out of 33 home games, still waiting to get double-digit wins in that home game column. And equally as bad to that, the Thunder successfully covered the point spread in just 30% of those home contests. Now, OKC's pretty much bad from corner to post. They're in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in points allowed at home. They've also lost 17 out of their last 18 ball games. Now, total-wise, OKC's 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games, 5-2 to the over in their last 7. OKC's also gone 21-12 to the over at the Chesapeake Energy Arena. Meanwhile, the Kings saw 6 out of their last 10 games with OKC get over the line as well. I'm going to lean toward the Sacramento Kings -4.5 and the over 227. Next contest, Warriors, Pelicans, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. New Orleans is -3, totals 235. And despite a pretty embarrassing effort against Golden State a few nights ago, we're still looking at a Pelicans team who covered 5 out of their last 7 ball games. Now, New Orleans is arguably the best rebounding team in the game right now. They're in the top 3 in offensive rebounding, top 3 in defensive rebounding as well. They're also scoring 116 points a game at the Smoothie King Center. Zion Williamson scoring 27 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Brandon Ingram's dropping 24 a night himself, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for Ingram. The Pelicans are in the top 10 in the NBA in scoring on average per contest. They're taking on a Golden State team who typically plays quite poorly on the road. They've gotten the W in just 14 out of 45 road games, and they also successfully covered the point spread in just 40% of those road contests. Now, Golden State is also the worst defensive rebounding team on the road. They rank dead last in the NBA in road defensive rebounding. Now, Kelly Oubre, he's been ruled out for tonight's contest. Golden State's also in the bottom 10 in the association defensively in points allowed per game. Now, total-wise, Golden State's last 2 straight, ironically, did stay under the line, 70% to the under in their last 10. The Warriors are also 22-13 to the under when they travel. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are 7-3 to the under in their last 10 meetings with Golden State. New Orleans also went 5-1 to the under in their last 6 ball games this season. I'm going to lean toward the New Orleans Pelicans -3 and the under 235. Next contest, it is going to be Mavericks Heat, 8 p.m. East. The Miami Heat's -3, totals 215.5. But as good as Miami's been playing, they're still amongst the worst home covering teams in the East right now. Miami's successfully covered the point spread in just 13 out of 33 home games. And they're also in the bottom 5 in the entire league in scoring on average per contest. Now, Miami's averaging just 106 points a game. And some more bad news for Miami fans and Miami backers. Tyler Hero, he's been ruled out for tonight's contest. And Andre Iguodala, he's also questionable. Now, Miami pretty much gets out-rebounded. They get out-rebounded on the offensive end of the court pretty much every game as well. They're currently in the bottom 3 in the association in offensive rebounding per game. Now, they're taking on a Dallas club who's won 6 out of their last 8. And they're just half a game back of the 5th-place Lakers in the Western Conference standings. Now, Dallas has played their best basketball on the road, going 19-13 straight up when they travel. The Mavericks typically play very good defense in those road games as well. They're in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage on the road, top 10 in points allowed away from home as well. Luka Doncic is averaging over 28.5 points per contest, 8 rebounds, 8 assists for the starting point guard. Meanwhile, Tim Hardaway Jr. is averaging 16 a night, along with 3 rebounds as well. Now, both Kleba and Porzingis are both questionable for tonight's action, so definitely keep an eye on them if you're looking, to fire on this game. Having said that, though, we're still looking at a Dallas team who's in the top 10 in the NBA in road scoring. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Dallas's last 4 ball games got over the line, 6-3 to the over in their last 9, throwing out the Sacramento game. Meanwhile, Miami saw their last 6 straight get over the total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog Dallas Mavericks +3 and the over 215.5. With that, guys, now we're going to jump into our next and final contest for the show. I'm talking about the Raptors versus the Clippers, and that's going to be a 10 o'clock Eastern start time. The Los Angeles Clippers are -9.5, numbers 221. But my, humble opinion here, this is a pretty large number for a Clippers team who hasn't covered a point spread in their last 4 straight. And as a matter of fact, LA's gone just 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 ball games. And they currently find themselves in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. Now, LA's in the bottom half of the league in offensive rebounding. They're also in the bottom half of the league in defensive field goal percentage at home. They're taking on a Toronto club who successfully covered the point spread in their last 2 straight, 70% against the number in their last 10. Now, the Raptors have done a fairly nice job on the defensive end of the court. They're in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage, top 10 in fourth quarter points allowed on the road. Pascal Siakam scoring nearly 21 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists for the starting forward. Meanwhile, Freddie VanVleet, he's scoring 19 points a night himself, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Fred. Now, total-wise, Toronto saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line, 21-12 to the over as the road team. Meanwhile, Los Angeles is 18-15 to the over as the official home team themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors plus 9.5 and the over 221. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the Phoenix Suns minus 12.5 over 217. Charlotte Hornets minus 7 over 216. Milwaukee Bucks minus 1 under 242. Sacramento Kings minus 4.5 over 227. New Orleans Pelicans minus 3 under 235. Dallas Mavericks plus 3 over 215.5. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 3-1 in our last 4 NBA tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 63% in our last 16 NBA tier package picks in that very same category. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors plus 9.5 and the over 221. And with that, guys, now we're going to jump into some shout outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Wild Kings, Gary DeStefano, DJ Wavy, Rawan Summerall, Maurice Fletcher, Dope Boy Fresh, Moneyball 365. Shout out to Sean Summerall, Solo Rider, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, Brooklyn Lou. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.